and welcome back to the Villa podcast. Welcome to Transfer Hub, transfer rumours, links, noise, news coming out of Aston Villa, incomings and outgoings. And we have news of a potential big if is the word that Ornstein has used. A big if Jacob Ramsey could potentially leave Aston Villa in this window for a fee in the region of around 50 million. Newcastle are the main party who are inquiring. They also have to sell players to be compliant with FFP. And with that, if they can raise funds, then they might go in for Jacob Ramsey. That's the news in and around Aston Villa and Jacob Ramsey. Some more noise on that is as follows. That is a big if, because Ramsey has established himself as a key player, and ideally this would not be a consideration, but funds must be raised before the end of June to stay compliant with profit and sustainability rules. That has alerted suitors who believe offers above 50 million, 63.5 million euros will at least be contemplated. Should Villa decide to keep Ramsey, there are other ways in which the money could be found. So, the news, Jacob Ramsey is getting some attention. So I'm going to be brutally honest on this episode. I'm going to leave my honest thoughts like I always do. We know that we had that brilliant episode with Kieran Maguire about a week ago talking about Villa's finances. And there's a stark reality, and a lot of you watched that episode, so a lot of you will know, the ins and outs of Villa finances now. You will know corporate revenue. We're miles off it. We are off it with commercial revenue, match day revenue. You will know that Aston Villa have a lot of work to do off the pitch. But on the pitch, he mentioned that Aston Villa couldn't have a summer transfer window where we go out and spend 200 million. There's not a war chest to spend. The owners are very, very wealthy. If they wanted to, and if they were able to, they probably would splash millions and millions of pounds on players. But with FFP and profit and sustainability, that's not the case. We are governed by that rule. We can only spend certain amounts of money. Where do I personally see us? I think if the line is here, I think we are here. I think we have a little bit of wriggle room still left to do. I think we are not on that line. I think we are not in a position where we have to sell to buy. But, here's the but. We're getting close. And my main point that I will make, and this is what I believe is going to happen, Aston Villa will sell fan favourite players in the summer. I think that's going to happen. I think there are going to have to be certain player sales in the summer to move that gap a little bit wider. So I think that's the first point that I'm going to make. Do I think Jacob Ramsey is going to go in this window? No, I don't. Because we know Newcastle are trying to offload Almiron, Trippier. They've spoke about their financial difficulties of potentially having to sell a Botman, a Gimenez, or an Isak. They're in the same boat that Aston Villa are in. Do I think one of those players from Newcastle are going to leave? Probably not. And do I think they're going to buy Jacob Ramsey? Probably not. Not in this window. Not for the value that Aston Villa see fit for Jacob Ramsey. The beauty of Jacob Ramsey, if he was to leave, is the fact that he goes as an academy player as pure profit. So we know the Grealish sale, worked wonders for us for about 3 years. And we know selling Jacob Ramsey would be absolutely brilliant for FFP. The problem with that we've got is that Jacob Ramsey is one of our best players. The fact that Ramsey has been out all season and Aston Villa are sitting fourth in the Premier League is absolutely amazing and shows the genius that we've got at our club in Unai Emery. My thoughts on Jacob Ramsey are he's a brilliant player. I really rate him. I think he's great when he's on form. I think he's still got a lot of growing to do as a player. Far from the finished article. And I'd be really disappointed to see him leave. But where my head's at, and as an Aston Villa fan, is I love the Villa players. I think they're amazing. I think we've got some great players. But my affinity with Aston Villa isn't for the players. It's for the football club. And there are going to be some big decisions that get made. And there are being big decisions that get made. And I still stick by the club's decisions. When the club brings in the terrace view and the lower grounds, am I annoyed? Am I frustrated? Would I love for it to remain free? Would I love for it to remain, as it was? Of course I would. But my love for this club wants this club to grow and be the biggest and the best club it possibly can be. And big decisions have to be made. And decisions have to be made for the well-being of the football club. If the terrace view and the lower grounds can increase corporate revenue that is better for the football club, that can close that gap to the bigger teams, then I'm all for it, because I want Villa to be competing at that top table. And some of those decisions have to be made. Whether I've got, a personal, view on something, that's fine. But the club overrides that. The decisions and the well-being of this football club have to override it. And it's the same with players. We can all have football players that we absolutely love and we don't want to see them go, etc. But ultimately, if those decisions have to be made where it's going to benefit Aston Villa, it's going to benefit our transfer kitty, it's going to benefit us for FFP, it's going to allow the club more money to spend, then unfortunately these big decisions have got to be made. And I think we're starting to get to that point where some of these players that we really, really rate, they're gonna go. They're gonna go, and that's a stark reality of it. It's a stark reality of it. I see fans talking about Matty Cash and saying that Cash can't go and Cash can't do this. He might have to go in the summer. We've just signed Nedeljkovic. Cash might be one of those players Aston Villa look at and think, you know what, he's got good value here. He's gonna have to be moved on. And that is also the reality of where we're getting to. So Ramsey, I don't think he's going to go. But if someone bids 50 million for Jacob Ramsey, I think Villa sell him. And I think Villa sell him moving forward, because you've got to look at Unai, you've got to look at who's in charge, you've got to look at this new model that we've gone through as well. And I really rate Ramsey. I think he's got a great future, but he's far from the finished article. Far from the finished article. So that's the update on Ramsey. Looks like Duran is still getting interest from Chelsea. If Chelsea bid for Duran leaves. Honestly, it sounds really harsh. I feel harsh saying it, but it's just a reality. If someone bids for Ramsey, 50 million, Ramsey's going. If someone's bidding 20 odd million or 30 million for Duran, Duran's going. So I think that's where we are. And, when we were linked with Morgan Rogers, that one looks like it's going through. Third bid, we've bid for Morgan Rogers and we're thinking, he's going to be a squad player. Well, if you're starting to put 2 and 2 together, Morgan Rogers plays on that left-hand side. Jacob Ramsey also plays on that left-hand side as well. I don't know. But big decisions are going to start to be made at Aston Villa. And I think it's unfortunate that one of the big ways around FFP is that you sell academy players and it goes 100% pure profit. You look at Chelsea, club captain Conor Gallagher. If someone bids 40 million for Conor Gallagher, he's going to leave. Every club is now in this same boat. Newcastle in exactly the same position. Almiron's got to go. Every club's in the same position where if you can sell a player to buy a player, then it's the way it is. So it's really unfortunate. But like I say, I don't think Ramsey's going to go in this window. I really don't think he's going to go. But there are going to be players that are going to leave in the summer. Well, I'd say I'm 100% sure that some are going to leave in the summer. So That's why getting Champions League football is so important. So Villa fans, let me know your thoughts. I imagine few will disagree with what I've said, which is fair enough. And you can comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. Up the Villa.